Today we're going to go over how to convert your KWA M93R to the CronoArms Robo-9 for those of you who purchased the Robo-9 kit. The Robo-9 kit does come with the front compensator, the rear sight, and 2 hand grips. For those of you who bought the kit, your hand guards are going to come without the supports removed. And that's because it's just safer and easier to ship them this way. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get a pair of needle nose pliers. And all you have to do is just squeeze on the glassy side. Don't obviously squeeze this side, but squeeze the glassy side, and then you just kind of peel these layers off, and they should come off incredibly easy, to where you can just squeeze them to break them off, and then peel them off like so. And be careful here and here not to break those small feet, because they are very fragile. But just squeeze and pull, squeeze and pull, and you can use your hands to clean up the rest. You can even take a razor blade, clean up around the edges, but that's how you separate these hand guards from their supports. And for the other one, we're just gonna adjust my grip here, like so, like so. That's it. For tools, you'll need a small Phillips screwdriver, an O-ring pick or some object to remove the blowback unit, a 2.5mm Allen key, and a power drill with a 3/32 drill bit. This video is going to cover how to disassemble your KWA M93R as well, including the blowback unit, which most videos don't show how to do. The first order of business is disassembling your KWA M93R. A lot of videos show this, but they don't show how to get to the blowback unit, which we are going to do. So to take off the slide, make sure your mag is empty. Obviously, it's not in the gun. You're going to push on this button here to unlock the top rail, and then you're going to just simply slide your slide off. You're going to want to remove your spring. Place that in a safe place, remove your barrel assembly, place that in a safe place, and then we're going to go ahead and access the blowback unit. So that's a 2.5mm Allen key there. Go ahead and just unscrew that. And the reason why we're disassembling this is because we want to keep these parts nice and clean for when we drill the holes in the top rail for your rear sight. This kit does require some drilling, and we don't want these metal shards to go in and foul this sensitive blowback unit here. So once you have the screw out, in order to remove the blowback unit, there's these 2 rails that we're going to have to kind of bend in, because they clip onto the side there, and then once we do that, we can pull it out. So you get a sharp tool, and I'm not sure if you can see this very well, but let me adjust the lighting so that you can see this better. Okay, got some better lighting. So I'm going to use my sharp tool here, and it helps if you have a hook at the end. You're going to get in this spot here, you're going to bend this out, and then you're going to kind of move it so that it doesn't fall back into its slot. Do the same for the other side. Going to bend it, move it up and out a little bit. Oh, and then once it's unseated, you should be able to come back here, move this down a little bit, be forceful, but don't obviously be too forceful, because you may break something. These are tough, but do be careful. And then there you have it. As you see it start to move, you can come back here, leverage it some more. Hopefully I got all of that in frame. And then, oh, you should be able to get the blowback unit out. Okay, 2 springs on top, very sensitive. Don't lose those. This piece will also fall out. This is the valve that releases the gas into the blowback unit. It's actually 2 pieces. So don't lose these. Put these in a safe spot and put this aside. Make sure it you know, functions by blowing gas from the mag through here, and it pushes the slide back. Don't let any metal shards or dirt or anything get in here, and we'll pull that aside. Okay. Now you have your slide. It's bare metal, all nice and clean. You're gonna take your rear sight. It's got some 2 millimeter screws that go into these 2 millimeter nuts. That's what you're going to use your Phillips key for. You're just going to simply unscrew the screws. The nuts should be frictioned into place, so they shouldn't fall out. If they do, simply put them back in and make sure that they stay in. And you don't need to remove them all the way. You can if it makes it easier, but it's not necessary. We just need to be able to clear that space right here to be able to fit over the slide. Okay, I lied. You are going to have to remove all these. Okay, once you got the rear sight removed, the nuts should obviously be in place. You're going to just simply fit this over the rear sight of your KWA slide. Just make sure it's nice and snug. Okay, with your 5/64 drill bit, you're going to go ahead and make sure that this is nice and snug in a line. You're going to stick your power drill in there and you're going to drill into the front sight. And you'll feel it go through. Go ahead and back it out, and then we can check on our drill here. See all these metal shards? That's why we removed the blowback unit. So should have a nice little hole right there. Okay, that's one. Let's drill the other. Go through, back it out, and now we've got our 2 holes. So it's incredibly important to have your pieces cleaned as much as possible, because those small silver shards of metal will definitely ruin your blowback unit on the reassembly. So go ahead and hold this upside down so that the nuts don't fall out. And this is optional, but what I like to do is I like to put 2 small drops of super glue here in order to have this adhere better to this versus just the 2 screws. Sometimes there will be a little gap here without the glue, and it's somewhat unsightly, so some super glue there will fuse that right up and close the gap. Now, it is worth mentioning that super glue will dissolve this printed plastic that I use for the rear sight. So when you glue it, be very careful not to get any glue on the sides, or you will see some imperfections on this. So I just have this Gorilla Glue gel here, and I'm gonna put some very small drops on. One right there, one right there, and that should be enough for it to adhere. So go ahead and put this around. Make sure it's nice and tight. and that glue will spread across the plastic and hold it in place. So while that's being glued, go ahead and take your screws that you took out and place them back in there. Once you drilled it, it should slide in relatively easily. Watch me eat my words. Oh, maybe not. So you get a screwdriver. So once the glue has dried, you can see it fused up that gap there nicely. Go ahead and get your 2 screws in, and then we'll get back to reassembly. So the first thing is you take your blowback unit, which you set aside responsibly, free of metal shards, unlike me. I moved it far, but not far enough, and I still got metal shards on it. Go ahead and stick that valve in place there, and then this is just slid back into place while holding down that valve. Make sure those small springs up top don't fall out. They are incredibly difficult to find, especially on carpet. So once everything's in place, it just push in on these 2 small little tabs, and it should tab back into place. Go ahead and get that screw and put that 2.5mm screw back. Okay, once you have your slide reassembled, we're going to go ahead and slide that back onto the lower. I find that it helps if you hold it upside down so that everything stays in place, but we're just going to go ahead and slide this onto the lower here. Move all the parts down, move the hammer back. Something else I'm missing. There we go. Alright, move everything into place, flip this switch back up, test your slide a little bit, and rear side is done. Okay. Compensator is significantly easier. All you're going to do is there's a nut in there that's held into place, there's a screw down here, use your Phillips key. Go ahead and remove Phillips screwdriver, remove the nut, remove the bolt. You're gonna slide this front compensator right over the top of your barrel. Make sure everything's a nice snug fit. And there's your guide hole. You're gonna take your drill and you're gonna drill a hole in there with your 3/32 drill bit. Okay, once you've got that all ready, you're going to go ahead and slide this slowly on the forward until that front grip there passes into that hex, little hex hole that's made for the nut. We're going to take the nut on something nice and dexterous, and we're going to go ahead and slide it into that spot right there. There you go. Once the nut is in that slot, you can go ahead and slide the compensator the rest of the way in, and that nut will actually get held in place by the slide. And then we're just going to take this small Phillips screwdriver from earlier, get our Phillips screw from earlier, use our screwdriver and tighten it. Nice and firm, and that should be good. into your gun that you responsibly set aside once again. So this part is tricky because you need to make, oh, don't let that happen. Alright, once you've got your upper reassembled, you're going to slide this back onto your lower, oh, son of a bitch! Okay, once you have your upper receiver, upper slide reassembled, we're going to go ahead and stick this on our lower that you hopefully were responsible, motherfucker!